Alright guys, we're working on a older Kenmore Whirlpool made washer, and complaint on this guy: washer washes just fine, but it does not complete the cycle, as in it does not spin the water. Well, it drains, but it does not spin. Okay, I'm gonna demonstrate. So right now we're in spin. Okay, pull the knob, and if you have a switch here, you can activate it. So right now the lid is open, obviously, and you see your door switch or lid switch. You press this down, the drum should be turning. Okay. Now, sometimes when you have a bad clutch, you could press this, okay? Now, that's being held in. If you grab the drum and turn it by hand, okay, it should spin. Now watch, okay? I'm gonna turn the drum manually by hand. Okay, so this drum is stuck. So that's why it's not rotating. So we need to find out why. Sometimes you have a brake that is locked up, or the drum is just stuck. So we're gonna turn it. Alright guys, so we're working on this Kenmore Whirlpool made, and we're gonna be changing the transmission on this guy. You have a 7/16. We're going to lay it on its back, and I'll show you what to do. Take this piece off as well, because you're pulling this out. So remove these, and alright guys, so this is the transmission, and this is on your older direct drive Whirlpool washer. That thing in there with the rubber, it's called the coupling. Okay, that turns the motor. Well, the motor turns that, and you have another piece that fits in there, and your motor turns gears in there and causes that to rotate. Now, the piece in there with the spring, that is called your clutch. Well, the entire piece is really your clutch. This and your cam, which is on there, pushes against this, and this turns. Okay, you'll see it turning. See that? As you can see, that turns as well. And that's your agitation. If you watch it, it's turning. And then it goes back the other way. In case you missed it, see it? And that's agitation. So very reliable. Couple things to note. On top of that, you see that hole. That's a vent. So when you get the new ones, you always have to make sure you get a pin or something and make sure that hole is not obstructed. If not, you will end up with oil dripping down because it's a weeping hole, so to say, or a vacuum. They're moving gears and parts, and it has to vent as it reciprocates, so to say. So we're probably going to change the transmission on this guy over here because I have to pull the entire clutch out. So it is easier just to change it. I figure I'd just do a little quick explanation. On this is the brake housing, so to say. When your machine is spinning, it basically turns like this and it spins, and this spring actually squeezes and it separates your brake. So the machine can spin no problem, and as soon as it stops spinning, it turns this way and it locks up. You hear that shh. So yep, those are shipping bolts in case one ever fall out while you're working. And those are gliders. Old machine, but very reliable. One of the best machines Whirlpool ever made, in my opinion. So, all right, little quick tidbit there. All right, guys. So we're gonna be removing this transmission, which is that piece here. So this is your pump. I'm gonna take that off. The two clips, you pull them. And make sure when you put your new pump on, they do have little legs. They gotta fit right into those little pockets or holes. And then you've got another clip on the top. Just push it. Wiggle it off. You can just set it and hook it over there. Remove all your clips because you're gonna need to reuse them. This is your wire harness. Press and wiggle just slightly. Comes out. Be careful, don't bend your pins. You do have a clip on that bracket. You gotta squeeze. Little tab, you gotta squeeze it and push it in. And then you have a connection here because the motor will be separated from the rest. And this is your capacitor. Be careful with these. They are high voltage, they can zap you. So just wiggle them off, but don't touch the connections. And that's it for that. So now we're going to be removing 2 1/4-inch screws. I'm going to take the motor off, but because it's easier just to remove it as one piece, we're going to remove that bolt, and that guy. And then we're going to wiggle out and pull the motor straight on out. All right, stay tuned. All right, guys, so the bolts are removed. So now we're gonna just slide this thing out. As you can see, I already started doing it. So you're just gonna just grab it and just slide it out. It comes right out of there. Keep in mind, you see the position of that spring. So if you do have to work on these, pay attention to where the spring is. And that spring is gonna be that's for your brake. When the washer is spinning and it stops, it literally stops the tub from turning. And now you want to keep, okay, you have to keep that spring and this other spring, okay, they have to be opposite or not touching each other. So just keep that in mind. Just make sure they're not touching each other or on top of each other. Now let's remove this thing. You gotta wiggle it, turn it, it comes out. That's it. There. If you can't turn, if you turn it like this and it's not moving, okay, see that? That brake is frozen. Yeah, we gotta work on this. We're gonna pull this off and check it. This is, something is broken. This should be moving. So we're gonna pull this transmission back out and pull that off and take a look. All right, guys, so we're still working on the brake, okay? This is the brake system. When the machine is stopping or when it's doing its thing, it takes this and it turns it and it compresses this spring and it pulls these brakes in so the machine is able to spin. Once it's stopped, okay, it releases and this becomes resistance, and those brake shoes actually come in contact with this housing and the drum stops. This one is functioning. You can see how shiny the housing is. So again, the machine grabs it and it turns. But you never hear or feel the friction while it's spinning because the resistance is so great. It keeps this spring basically pressed and that not coming in contact. And as soon as the drum or the timer turns off the motor, it stops and all you have is just resistance and it just grinds to a halt. So we're gonna take this guy off and we might have to change that brake assembly, but I'm gonna put in a little bit of WD-40 and see if we can break it loose. But we do have to change the cam. I think the cam is damaged on that one. So we're gonna take this one off. To remove it, you have a little tab right up there. Just work it around and it comes right off. Try not to lose it, but sometimes they go flying. Sometimes when you're looking for tabs, two tabs, as you can see, those are actually missing. Okay, there's supposed to be two tabs and they go into that and that. So those are broken off. So could be from too much wear and tear. And that's pretty much what caused that. This is the cam, it pushes that lever. And sometimes you'll hear extra noise going on when the machine is spinning. So we're going to take the other one off on the other machine. Should have a new one laying around somewhere. Same procedure. Sometimes you can try and grab it so it don't fly away on you. But there, we saved it. All right, let's see. I'm sure this one is, oh yeah, this one is totally destroyed. Actually, he's worn out more on top, if you notice, but he has, his cams are in order, so we're good there. Rollers are good. Okay. All right, this doesn't look too bad. So we're gonna lubricate this, just a little bit of WD-40 I know it's a brake, but you can put a tad bit. So I'm going to break the rust loose first by squeezing this and see if we can get this thing to rotate, because it is definitely frozen. So, all right, stay tuned. Guys, so we're going to be adding just a tad bit. Now, you're not going to hurt anything because this is just a brake. The machine will still stop. And what you're doing is just killing some of the rust. This brake has been sitting for a while, so it's pretty frozen right now. So we're gonna tap it, or I should say persuasion it, give it some persuasion.